All right, let's talk pinch pot. So your whole sculpture, if you're choosing to use this method, is going to be made out of a pinch pot. So this is a great way to create bowls or mugs or flower pots, speaker boxes, charging stations. There's so many different things that you can create with a pinch pot. The first thing you need though is a giant ball of clay. I mean, it can even be bigger than this, depending on what you are doing. You have to be careful though, because if it's really big, excuse me, if it's really big, it's going to be really, really difficult to make that pinch pot because your fingers can't reach all the way down there. So just be aware, the bigger the ball of clay, the tougher it's going to be. So we're going to take a chunk of clay. It's not perfectly round, you can see. I do need to wedge it because it has been put together with multiple pieces. So I'm just going to wedge it real quick. I don't need to do crazy wedging. Make sure when you are wedging that you're actually pounding it and you're not like just dropping it and being really dainty with it. You want to actually get some air pockets out of there. So this is pretty good. I'm going to keep it in a cube-like shape for wedging just because I want to make a ball. So if I get it flat, then I have to fold it up on itself again, which is creating more air pockets. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this into shape. So I'm going to smack it with the palms of my hand because they are thicker and they are stronger than my fingertips. So I'm going to take this and just whack it. And then take it and whack it with this hand. Now this is a big piece of clay, so going like this is not going to do anything. If you have a smaller piece, you could totally roll it in between your hands and you'll probably get a great ball of clay. But right now this is too big, so you just sort of have to smack it and sort of get it into shape. Going up and down on the clay, turning it. I'm constantly moving the ball of clay. It's not just staying in one spot. So here it is. Perfect? No, but that's okay. What you're going to do now is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to find a place. I usually find like a blemish on it or a part that I don't really like because then I'm just going to make it go away. So I could probably pick there or there, but there's already an indent here, so it'll make it easier. Take my thumb and I'm going to stick it into the middle of the clay. All right. One other tip, you can see I sort of struggled there. If you use fresher clay, makes your life so much easier with a pinch pot because you've really got to mold the clay. But if it's really dry, pinch pots aren't going to work. It's going to be too much of hard work. So you may have to judge the moisture of your clay or where your clay state is at. So leather hard clay, definitely not something that you want to use this with. I'm then going to take my hands like this. I'm going to turn it into a crab and be pinchers, all right? So I'm going to put my fingers in here. My thumb goes back into the hole, and I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to pinch it. And I'm rotating it like that, okay? So I'm going to teach you two different ways of pinching right now because depending on the shape of your pot, it really makes a big difference. So I just did that first just to make the open at the top of the mouth of the clay more open, I should say. So if you have a really round piece, you're just going to keep pinching around and keep going around and really shaping it, making sure your hand stays cupped on the bottom so that you have a really nice round piece. If you want something to be taller, then you're not gonna necessarily pinch so much, but you're gonna put your thumb inside and then your hand is gonna like pull it up like that. So your thumb goes in and your hand pulls the clay up. So I'm gonna do that on one side and I'm gonna just make it round on the other side and hopefully you'll be able to tell the difference between the two. So I'm gonna find a thicker part for this and I'm just gonna start pulling. So you can see that I'm just pulling the clay up instead of pinching it up. I'm just pulling it from the bottom and moving it. And I'm only doing this on half of it because I want to show you the other half and the other way. So as I start pulling it, I need to use my sense of feel or my sense of touch to really feel how thick the clay is. You don't want it to get too thin or else your piece is going to fall apart. If you do poke a hole in it, not the end of the world. You can either start over if you want, or you can take a piece of clay and patch it up, scoring and slipping it on. So I'm just pulling it. I can feel that it is getting thinner on the sides. You can see that the marks on the sides are showing you that I'm pulling it up. And then I'm gonna come back up to the top because I pulled all that clay up, and now I'm gonna gently pinch it back up to the top. Now it's cracking on the top. I don't really care about that right now. I'm just trying to get my shape. I can worry about making it perfect later. But that's as thick, that's good thickness. You don't want it any thinner than that. So you can see that by pulling it, it made it really tall. Now I'm just gonna use the pinching method on the opposite side to hopefully show you the difference. It's gonna get a little bit taller just because you have to pinch out that thickness. But when you are doing this, I can take my thumb and just pinch towards the bottom, like push against my other hand, because I want it really round. All right, then you have to come back and fix everything. And on the other side, you may have to go around and push on the bottom too. You don't want your bottom too thick or else it will explode in the kiln, which is not good. So just pinching and moving here. So this is not perfect by any means, but you can see the difference between the two sides here. This side's a little bit better. You can see that this one was just where I pinched, and this one was where I pulled. So you can see the difference between the two and how it can really shape it. If you want it really round, like this is sort of flat on this side, you just need to take your hand and really push out with it. And you can do this before you're completely done pinching it. And I'm just pushing in the middle of it so that it gets, and stretching the clay is what I'm doing. And it's okay if you get those marks on the side. Like I said, all these cracks can be fixed later on. So I'm just stretching the clay, and you can see it sort of bending in on the top, which is what I want. Now it has more of a curve on my side instead of just straight up. And you can go back in and fix it however you want. Now let's talk about those cracks. Dip your finger in your slip, just in the water, and then go back over those cracks with some water and your finger. You do not need your hand to be completely covered in water, but you can see, has not taken me long, all those cracks are gone. So I would do that with the top two and anything else that I need to fix. But that is how you create a pinch pot.